Nwamma had spent years struggling to provide for her only child, Udego. Life had been cruel, and she was tired of the constant hunger, the ragged clothes, and the whispers of pity from the villagers. When Odogu, the richest man in Amaozala, returned to the village seeking a young wife, she saw an opportunity too good to ignore. Odogu had no heir. He needed a young wife to bear him children. Ignoring Udego's pleas, Nwamma convinced herself that marrying her daughter to Odogu would bring them a life of ease. She told Udego it was for their future, for her own good. But deep down, she knew the truth. This was about her own hunger for wealth. If her daughter married Odogu, they would never know suffering again. The thought alone filled her with greed. She did not care that Udego was only 16. She did not care that her daughter trembled at the thought of becoming the wife of a man 3 times her age. All she saw was wealth, and she would stop at nothing to get it. Udego had always dreamt of a different life, one filled with love, laughter, and freedom. The thought of being married to Odogu, a man 3 times her age, filled her with dread. She tried to reason with her mother, to make her see how unfair this was, but Nwamma refused to listen. Despite Udego's tears, her pleas, and the horror in her eyes, Nwamma arranged the marriage. The villagers whispered among themselves, but no one dared challenge Nwamma's decision. A mother knew best, after all, or so they thought. On the night before her wedding, Udego sat by the river, tears streaming down her face. She contemplated running away, but where could she go? Who would help save her from her mother's greed? The water whispered secrets to her, but none could change her fate. She knew that by sunrise she would be Odogu's wife, trapped in a life she did not choose. Odogu's mansion was nothing like Udego had imagined. It was grand, but lifeless, its towering walls hiding secrets she could not yet understand. Odogu was not the gentle husband he had pretended to be. He was controlling, cruel, and terrifyingly possessive. He locked Udego inside his compound, forbidding her from speaking to anyone but his servants. The servants moved like shadows. They avoided her gaze, and the older wives who had once lived in the compound were never spoken of. That night, as she lay in her new husband's house, she heard strange sounds, whispers in the walls, sending shivers down her spine. The creaking of unseen footsteps, she swore she saw shadows moving where no one stood. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Days passed, and Udego felt the weight of the mansion's secrets pressing down on her. The grand halls felt more like a prison, and the whispers in the dark grew louder. One night, she found a locked door at the far end of the hallway. Curious and afraid, she pressed her ear against it and froze. Something or someone was breathing on the other side. Who could that be, she wondered. One evening, in the kitchen, an old woman named Mama Nkiru watched Udego with pity. As Udego helped prepare a meal, Mama Nkiru slipped a note into her palm. "Run, before the next moon, or you will never leave." Udego's hands shook as she read the message. She knew then that she was in grave danger. Desperate, Udego sent words to her mother. She begged her to come take her home, but Nwamma refused. She had already begun enjoying the riches Odogu showered upon her. Fine clothes, jewelry, and endless feasts. She had finally become the woman of status she had always dreamed of. Determined to uncover the truth, Udego followed Odogu one night. She watched as he carried torchlight through the house, leading her to the hidden basement. What she saw made her blood run cold. Dark symbols covered the walls, drawn in blood. The room was filled with human bones. Pieces of jewelry, head wraps, and torn clothing lay scattered among the remains. The whispers she had heard at night were the voices of Odogu's past wives, women who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. In the center, a monstrous shadow loomed, its eyes glowing red. The demon spoke in a voice that made the walls tremble. "The time has come, Odogu. Bring me your wife." Udego covered her mouth to stifle a scream. She was not Odogu's bride. She was his sacrifice. This was how he had maintained his wealth, by offering each wife to the demon. This was why none of his past wives were ever seen again. And now, it was her turn. Odogu smiled. "She is ready." Udego turned to run, but a floorboard creaked beneath her feet. Odogu's head snapped up, and his eyes locked onto hers. "Udego!" She ran, heart pounding, but Odogu was faster. He grabbed her wrist, dragging her towards the demon. Udego fought with every ounce of strength she had. Kicking, clawing, screaming, she refused to be another lost soul in Odogu's dark ritual. As she struggled, she noticed a crack in the floor, a pit at the demon's feet. It was a trap, a hole meant for the sacrifice. Summoning all her strength, Udego twisted in Odogu's grip and shoved him backward. He stumbled, teetering on the edge of the pit. The demon's hands lashed out, not at Udego but at Odogu. Odogu's scream echoed through the basement as the demon's clawed hands seized him. "You have no more to give, Odogu. Now your soul belongs to me." The demon dragged him into the pit, Odogu's face twisting in agony as the demon drained his soul. His body crumbled into dust, and with a final earth-shaking roar, the demon vanished. Odogu's wealth, his power, his life, gone in an instant. The moment the demon vanished, the ground began to shake. The mansion's walls groaned and cracked. The house was collapsing, as if the evil within it could no longer hold itself together. Udego ran, dodging falling beams, barely escaping as the mansion crumbled behind her. When Udego returned home, Nwamma gasped in horror. "Where is Odogu? Where is my son-in-law? My wealth?" she demanded. Udego looked at her mother with empty eyes. "You sold me to a monster. Now he's got what he deserved." Nwamma fell to the ground, wailing. She had thought she was securing a better life, but in her greed, she had destroyed everything, and her daughter would never look at her the same way again. News of Odogu's mysterious death spread across the village. His mansion had disappeared as if it never existed, leaving nothing but rubbles. The villagers, once in awe of his riches, now whispered of curses and dark pacts. Udego had survived. The nightmare was over, but her scars remained. As for Nwamma, she spent the rest of her days in regret, knowing that her greed had almost cost her daughter's life. And every night, the wind carried a whisper through the village. "Beware of greed, for some riches come at a price too great to pay."
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to our channel for more African folktales and legends. Help us keep the traditions of our ancestors alive by sharing our content with your friends and family. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.